They might be the same person. Can't tell if trolling or if two separate people. But
there you go.
We have the Urgot right off the bat. The ban Urgot, you know, being nerfed, but still definitely
good.
a top tier. Nautilus as well. Awesome pick. We won't get to see him, unfortunately.
Hey, Nautilus is, you know, one of the best junglers right now. He's definitely top tier. He's got so much CC, maybe even a little bit too much CC, but, you know, super strong ganks.
I was just thinking about it. I like thinking about the bans not as, you know, oh, so what are they banning from a strategic standpoint, but
like, no,
oh, these champions are so awesome and we don't get to watch them.
Wah, wah, wah.
But Morgana definitely, you know, safe. All, you know, generally standard bans.
Yeah.
High CC teams, you know, really strong carries. So, you know, we'll see how they go.
But even then, you know, even though some champs do receive bans like Urgot and, well, Jack's actually got a very slight nerf. Really, really, really slight nerf, just a damage adjustment on the W. But, like, still though, like, even though there's some nerfs coming to some of these champions, it's still worth banning them out just because a lot of teams recently have been just practicing with them. They already have comps established, and, you know, if it works, use it. Who cares if they were, you know, nerfed a little bit? It's still viable. Just because the champ is nerfed doesn't mean you should just stop using them outright. They're still, in most instances, good. Shen and Lee Sin going to be the last two bans out. So now TGF, they have the option. First pick. Who are you? Soraka's
There's
open.
a lot of options. They could get a Soraka. I would kind of consider first picking an Alistar because I know that JPack, Alistar's just an all-around strong champion, but I know that JPack, he likes playing a roaming Alistar a lot, or Alistar support. So, you know, he is their support. If you can kind of force him into maybe one of the support champions he's not quite as comfortable with, that always works.
Whoa.
Oh, we've got it, Draven! Competitive Draven! Hurrah!
Okay. All right.
Everyone, lift up your spears and your chalices.
Lift up your axes, spin them around.
This is awesome.
Right
I'm excited.
Right round.
I got a chance to play Draven some, and I've only played 2 games, and both of the games, my opinion of Draven have been, wow, this character is so much fun. He's so strong. He's going to be so OP. And
now we're going to find out.
And I am so shitty with him. You know, that's like been my thought with Draven is just, I feel like he's designed to make you play poorly. Like he has one of the most fun champ designs ever, but he's designed to make you play poorly.
It's the axes.
It is the axes, and I was playing, and I ended up with, you know, 100 CS at 20 minutes. When usually you'll want to be at like 150, and I'll usually be at like 150. But I was like 100 CS. I swear I was paying attention to farming, but you're just like you're running around. You're like, hey, I'm catching axes left and right, and then all of a sudden you realize you're out of position. Or someone I tweeted about, and someone tweeted me back, and they were like, oh my God, you know, this is like a quote. Oh my God, Draven is so OP. He's the greatest champion ever. Holy shit, I'm dead. And that's basically my opinion of Draven. But he's really strong. It'll be fun to watch.
I think that could be said like any patch day. Like, you know, it's like, hey,
but he's
new champ, this is awesome. He's the most greatest guy ever in the world. And you die.
New patches, I like just hopping right into a ranked game with new patches. And that's what I always do. I hop into a ranked game, play a game with a new champ, and, you know, usually just get a win, and then like, good, crossed them off my list. I've got a win on that champ. Draven, I'm scared to do that. Like, I don't feel like I could go into a ranked game and win. I feel like I would just hold my team back. But he will be a lot of fun. We'll go into that pick in a second. We have, you know, more of a standard pick. Corki and Tarek, definitely a really strong bot lane pick. You know, so we'll see how that works. It's really aggressive. One of the issues with Draven is if you get out of position, then the enemy will punish you for it. And Corki and Tarek, they're 2 of the best in the game at punishing you for those kind of mistakes. So, you know, we'll have to see.
And you know, if you stick out way too far, there's the stun, there's the shatter, there's the armor reduction, there's the Corki, there's just an airplane in your face, shooting missiles down your throat. And granted Draven, he does have the
oh
speed.
My gosh, the
steroid.
Anivia is just such a terrible pick for Draven. I mean, terrible as in terrifying.
Terrifying.
It's like Anivia is just such a strong counter to Draven.
Explain a little bit the mentality behind why that is.
Well, see, here's the thing. Draven, he has really high damage. You know, his lane harass is really strong. Like level 1 and level 2, he basically beats every other champion in the game in lane harass. So he has really strong lane harass. You want to play him defensively. So you throw off an auto attack, kite back, and your axe, you know, it follows where you're going. So when you kite, it'll follow you and you can pick him up. In team fights, you know, Draven, he lacks mobility. He has great movement speed, and he has a good attack range. His attack range is 550, whereas champions like Graves and Vayne, they're both 525. So Draven actually has a decent attack range. It's not long, but it's not short. It's kind of it's average, really. So Anivia, you have the Anivia wall. It's like 650 range or 700 or something. Very easily, you're going to be able to pick off Draven with it. And because he doesn't have a dash, he doesn't have that flash or anything like that, he's done. Like, it's just over. If Anivia ever catches Draven with the wall, it's like there's nothing that he can do about it. So, Draven, it's going to be difficult. He needs to get up kind of close range, and then if you're tossing the axes around, you get a little bit too close. All of a sudden, you're out of position and you're just screwed. So, we'll have to see how it works. But we have a really interesting team comp for TGF if this holds true. Draven and Janna probably going to be actually maybe Draven and al.na bottom, then Riven top and Janna mid. So I think it's going to be an AP Janna with Nocturne in the jungle. So definitely, really unusual, but it should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how it works.
Yeah, this is definitely not standard. But not
this
to say that we
is not
see
standard.
It's
That's
definitely not
quote.
Standard, but we did see AP Janna
Yeah,
earlier today. In
we
fact,
did.
So and
it lost.
It did lose.
It did lose, but it was a really good match.
It was really close match. It was a really entertaining match, but. Saw going into the late game how much damage Janna is capable of doing, though. Like
the ratios on Janna's W and Q are actually really strong, and the shield is always nice.
So yeah, so it's just trying to think. Just trying to place. I mean, I'm pretty sure we may actually. Yeah, I'm thinking al.na mid. Well, it could be al.na mid, it could be Janna mid.
Well, al.na mid would be fun. Janna mid makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, well, against Anivia.
You're running al.na against Anivia. That just won't happen. And I like AP al.na, as much as the next guy, but against Anivia, it's really way too much of a mismatch. So it will probably be. We could see a jungle, and actually he is set up for al.na jungle. The only issue with the al.na jungle is it means that we have 2 bruisers in lane and no AP. So we have an all physical damage team, and that's an all physical damage team when you already have the armor buff of Taric, and you already have the damage reduction of Maokai, and you already have tanky champions like Anivia and Aurelia. That's not really the best setup. So we'll see how they kind of run with it, but it's definitely not ideal. They are swapping around, so they're actually trying to trick them a little bit. And there we go. There's the final step. So it is an AP Janna, which makes the most sense. So AP Janna, and then al.na and Draven bottom. And then, the other team, both teams very strong, a little bit more of a standard comp from AL. They have the really strong bottom lane. They have an aggressive jungler in Maokai. They have, top lane, Riven versus Aurelia is a very even matchup. Later in the game, Aurelia is just such a tanky champion. Will be able to disrupt Draven very easily since he doesn't have a hard escape. She can just dive onto him, which is going to be nice. Then you have Anivia for the fight control. Anivia is one of the best mid champions in the game when played appropriately. So just an all-around really strong comp. But I'll be honest, you can't look at TGF's comp and then not have a smile come across your face because it's so cool. We get Draven and AP Janna.
Smile just like that. Just like that. Just like you have that nice little smirk of AP Janna. Yeah, that can work. And it has worked. And it can. It's definitely like a nice oddball pick. You definitely have the damage output, but also keep in mind too, there is a lot of disruption on TGF. You have you got stuns, we got pop-ups, multiple pop-ups, we got fears. That's more than enough CC for Draven to just go ahead and do whatever he likes. In middle, if he could walk into the fights already with one spinning axe, with all that CC, he can just go ahead and run amok with both of them. Yeah. At which point he's got also all the damage. I think this is more of a just let's just set up Draven for all the kills here once you start hitting the team fight phase. But Corki Taric, it's aggression versus aggression here in the bot lane, and I think there's the thing though. There's so much armor shred on Absolute Legends. If Draven actually gets caught out in bot lane, it could send the spiral down, and it could actually really set up TGF for a little bit of a disaster as he start hitting mid-game. Yeah, that's definitely true. But one of the nice things about al.na is if we get the stun from Taric, Corki's going to want to come up and just, eat Draven alive. But al.na, just headbutt him away. Yeah. No big deal. We're all set to go.
So it's, you know, it will be a pretty even lane matchup. It could go either way, really. Both junglers are extremely aggressive, so there's a lot of kill potential with the junglers. The Draven and Alistar lane is actually a really nice lane. I love this lane. So Draven and Alistar and Draven and Blitzcrank are two of, you know, the lanes that I'm really excited to see him in. Draven and Blitzcrank, I'm just imagining, you know, with how much fun Blitzcrank has been recently, you have, you know, the enemy AD sitting behind the creep wave, you throw off Draven's E and knock him right to the side, right into a Blitzcrank hook, and they're like, hey, what the hell? That's hacks. No, that's not fair. But Alistar's the same thing. So Draven and Alistar, if you get a nice ward in the river to protect yourself against a Maokai gank, Alistar, naturally, you want to take advantage of the bush. So if you can control the bush, and then Draven, instead of sitting by Alistar, sits on the far side by the river, then if you hit the E with Draven, instead of going vertically down the lane, it will go perpendicular to the lane. If this is making sense to anyone. I'm trying to do this long-winded explanation here. So it'll go perpendicular lane, and so instead of hitting them left or right in the lane, it'll hit them back into Alistar. So you can use your E to, since his E has a knockback, you use your E to knock them back into Alistar or pin them against the wall. And actually, the pin against the wall is really nice for ganks. You have a gank coming in, you pin them against the wall with the E, then you have Alistar follow it up, and you have enough CC. And Draven in lane, his damage is really high with his axes. You know, he won't want to get out of position. So what you want to do, you throw an axe, you run back to catch it, and you just be very defensive like that. However, when Alistar is ready to go, when you can run forward, running forward or running back, that's what the positions you want to be. You want to have set motions so that you're always going to be able to catch your axe easily without having to think about it. When Alistar is going for the aggressive engage, you're going to be running forward, so Draven can easily pick up all of his axes, has enough damage to follow up on the CC that Alistar has, and very quickly, you know, that's just a really aggressive bot lane. So we will maybe see some kills. We're almost guaranteed to see kills bot lane one way or the other.
Right.
It's either going to AL with the Corki Tarek Maokai or to TGF with the Nocturne Draven Alistar. So regardless, whatever happens, it's going to be a really fun bot lane to watch.
So there's so much chance for just really quick kills. Focus in on the CC for TGF, or if you can just go ahead, the quick stun and all of the shred on onto AL. It could really go either way. Whoever gets the first kill in bot lane, they're gonna have such a ridiculous lead. I think that they're just gonna go ahead. It's really gonna rely on who gets the first kill. Yeah, that's what I think. But
yeah, we'll see. Both teams probably going to play pretty defensively right here. You know, both teams have a very strong level 1, and so I think both teams will kind of just sit back and be like, yeah, let's not risk this. Let's go ahead and just sit back. Maokai, you know, he wants to just get his blue. Nocturne could maybe start off with the red, or he could start off at his own blue and then try a quick invade on the Maokai red. But for the most part, they're going to sit back. Mid Janna versus Anivia should be actually a really interesting lane matchup as well. And you know, if you have played AP Janna, it's a lot of fun. She has really nice ratios. She's really strong at lane control. So Janna, you have the shield, so it gives you the AD. You have nice burst. You have great survivability against ganks with, you know, your whirlwind and with your slow. So she's just an all-around strong champion. The thing with Anivia is Anivia usually is really strong with auto attack harass, because you can, you know, auto attack people, and if they ever stop to auto attack you back, then you throw off the flash frost and catch them in the stun. But Janna, she can just return it with her shield, do more auto attack harass than Anivia can, and then if Anivia throws off the stun, Janna instantly whirlwind, and now Anivia won't be able to proc the stun portion. So the flash frost will fly right over Janna's head, and she'll be fine. And if you can dodge that flash frost as Janna, you're going to get great harass on Anivia. And then if you're able to take her down, couple that with a Nocturne gank, or even by yourself, Anivia will, with the shield, will have plenty of damage to hopefully take down that Anivia egg, you know, if she's trying for the kill. Anivia, on the other hand, has great, you know, upfront burst, great CC, will want to farm aggressively. And I think with this aggressive team, we're actually going to see an invade.
There we go. Pinku is leading the charge onto enemy territory to the blue buff. There's AL. They're looking to see what they can do in a situation like this. It's going to be a 4v4 situation, whoever decides to try and grab the blue. But looks like TGF will be repelled successfully. Yeah, and they just wanted to come, check out, see who was there. They were like, oh, all 4 of them are there? Never mind, we'll back off. You know, maybe if 1 or 2 of them were gone, then they'd be fine. But later on in the game, one of the big things against Anivia is just control the blue, and that's really the hardest counter to Anivia. Anivia lanes very well against every champion in the game, basically. What you want to do
take the Anivia blue, shut down her farm, and then push her into the tower. Well, you know, Janna, she's a pretty strong mid. Nocturne is a very strong jungler, and then Alistar and Draven is a pretty strong bot lane. So because we have strong lanes and a strong jungler, there's more opportunities for us to steal the blue from Anivia and, you know, see if we can get that advantage.
Yep, and you see, you know, liquidity there. You thrown off the spinning axes. Just did not want to catch that other one because it's going to put him a little bit too close to Corki. Would have eaten just, you know, some free harass there. And that's really the debate you need to do when you're playing Draven. Do I really want to catch that axe? Do I really want to put myself out of position to go ahead and grab that thing and continue my juggle?
And it looks like Janna didn't dodge the Flash Frost, so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Janna's a little bit chunked out in the mid, so she's going to need to play defensive just for a little bit. Ping's going on in mid. Maokai actually going to look for a gank for himself, but stun going down onto Draven in mid. Headbutt, pulverize, keeping him into the wall, and but Draven will go down first. Corki will go down shortly, and Pinku, actually the minions might just go ahead and help in on this kill. J-Pack is still in hot pursuit, going for it. There was a kill in the mid. We'll go back to that shortly. Pinku trying to headbutt J-Pack. Will you be able to go ahead and get this kill? No, but actually let's go straight on into the mid real quick though. Maokai was not too far behind, going the long way around the flash, the twisted advance, and Janna just gets caught out.
Yeah, and that's really going to be an issue all game. And actually, Pinku, J-Pack diving on Alistar here. He is able to grab the kill. Tarek, you know, going a little bit too aggressive. Yeah. So that is kind of the issue with you know, the Maokai, is how aggressive a ganker Maokai is, and then you've got the follow-up burst from Anivia. So even though Janna has some nice CC, you have the flash twisted advance in, you can very easily pick up kills. We see Nocturne trying to come in and steal that blue, or that red, just barely missing it.
I don't think either one of them saw them in the jungle, but Koala is still around, could be looking for those ganks, and Kiko is here up in the top lane, pretty vulnerable, pretty far out, but Nocturne will go ahead and back off just for a little bit. Maokai actually swinging around the ward, and the Tri-Brush will not pick him up. So he's getting pretty sneaky. Going to be going the long way through behind the brush. But the wave is pushing, so it's going to be a little while until Keon actually comes back far enough into the lane for a perspective gank.
And so Riven should be okay there, but actually the headbutt, and then will we see a Pulverize just kind of zoning them out? We do get the Pulverize, some nice pressure being put on by Draven and Alistar. They get some nice harass. You know, but Tarek does have the heal, so he's generally going to be okay. But the nice thing about Draven is with the passive, you don't really you don't have to constantly auto attack for harass. You want to get one hit here, one hit there. Yeah. Get that advantage. We do see Nocturne sitting up top. Might engage onto Aurelia, but actually just backs off, so that's a little bit surprising.
Now there's a headbutt into J-Pack, right into the middle of the wall. Liquidity is there actually to give all the harass necessary. One more should. Oh, there we go. Wow. I did not think he was actually going to have enough range to go ahead and get the last hit, but there it was. The headbutt was just long enough to keep J-Pack around, and now bot lane is still kind of in this weird swing. Yeah. Because, you know, like all 3 kills, everything has happened bot lane. 2 of them on Alistar, 1 of them on the Draven, and still, you know, one kill on the Maokai, 1 kill on the Corki. So it's
both sides are just extremely aggressive, and you know, Draven has plenty of damage. You know, Corki does as well, and then it's 2 heavy CCs, so very similar lanes. And they're just kind of exchanging. Draven getting off some nice harass, and you see just one attack how much, you know, damage it's able to do to Corki. You know, really quickly kind of taking him down. We do see, you know, Maokai coming in from behind those, so we'll see if he gets a hard engage here. It is kind of an uneven lane, but Tarek is back now, so we actually have him coming in, trying to get in range. He won't be able to get in time, and there's the E. So Draven actually has pretty nice survivability. Anivia coming down as well, but not really going to do anything.
That was still by the skin of the teeth though, because it's like a little bit of distance. Could have gotten the twisted advances. Just good ward placement. You know, they were able to find out when Legendary Josh was going to be coming in for the approach, acted accordingly, and they just backed just in time. But still, they're back in the aggressive stance they were in before, pressuring this tower as much as they can. 42 to 38, the creeps are still pretty even, but hey, they both got a kill. There's still something to be said, but you know, there's still a little bit extra gold on Pinku as opposed to J-Pack. Got a level advantage, and the supports is there as well. And they're the stun going down onto Janna in the mid, and Nivea, the ignite going down, but the egg is still up. So there's a lot of work to be done for Janna, but here comes Riven coming down for the flash and the stun, and Nivea is egged, but will the damage be enough? Keon is tanking the tower the entire time, and the Whirlwind is actually able to finish off the egg.
Yeah, really nice job by Riven there. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to get in range, but with the quick flash, he got in the stun just barely in range of Anivia, was able to take her down. So that'll definitely help, Janna some. She is slightly ahead in the farm, but with the gank from Maokai, there's always the kind of the pressure in mid. Riven versus Aurelia is a pretty even matchup, but Riven's definitely is kind of a snowball champion. You want to get some kills early on, so any early kills is definitely huge. Aurelia will naturally, be at a slight advantage if we can't get kills on a Riven. So that's definitely going to be nice. Try and, snowball Riven a little bit.
So liquidity is just now, this is where the spinning axe comes into play. Last hit on a minion, every single time walk back, catch the axe, repeat. And he's been able to do that with, pretty good success, because now he's actually gotten to a point where he can go ahead and afford to do this quite often. Level 3 is going to be 64 bonus damage on every single axe as well, so he's not going to be really pushed to tower, because he can just go ahead and still farm while standing in front of it. He has enough damage to clear the wave, and that also allows TGF to go ahead and continue aggression down bot.
Yeah, and it should be interesting to see how Draven continues to play in this game as it progresses, and like how he is affected in fights. Because one of the issues with Draven is in team fights you're naturally going to lose some of your damage. You're going to be thrown back a little bit. The recall animation always awesome.
That's funny. That's just funny. That just amuses me so much.
Yeah, but in team fights you're going to be kind of losing some damage because you can't run around catching your axes. You're just going to look like a fool. You're going to walk right into Anivia, right into Maokai, and get yourself killed. So as a result, some of your damage output is lessened as opposed with other ADs who maybe have a little bit more upfront burst. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works. But I definitely think he can snowball fights very well. If you get a team that can win a fight really quickly, he's one of those champions that can just chase people down and easily clean up the mess. So we'll have to see how that'll work. We do have the Janna and the Alistar to protect them. We do have a really aggressive, team. Lots of physical damage, though. So if we see some quick armor reductions, some quick, Glacial Shroud and stuff, that could reduce a lot of the damage they're trying to do in fights.
Frozen Heart, Randuin's Omen, those would be just two fantastic items that might be in the best interest of AL to go ahead and pick up in the near future. But in the meantime, Al starting with a headbutt, trying to get the CC down onto the Corki, but Nocturne is here just in time, trying to get the ult onto the Taric though, but they just managed to retreat just in time. 4-man push for TGF there into the bot lane. Taric and Corki are still they're still a little bit hurt. They're still reeling from it, but Janna did leave lane for that, so it's going to allow Anivia to go ahead, push the wave into tower, and steal the blue. Very vital here, because Anivia is a very blue intensive jungler, and keeping that away from Janna could absolutely mean the world. And there it goes.
It's actually a really late blue for Nocturne, so the fact that he hasn't gotten it yet, and then Janna, don't walk right into him. We're gonna have the Twisted Advance. We're gonna have the Anivia damage. The Flash Frost goes right over because Janna with the nice Monsoon able to burst that off. They will have to back off though. They can't really fight this, but Nocturne not clearing it as fast as he probably needed to. So that's definitely a nice advantage for Absolute Legends. So Anivia had her own blue already, will have plenty of mana, can just constantly push this lane and take some nice control over Janna. I think a lot of the thing is that bottom lane gank. I don't know that they were expecting to get kills. It'd be nice to get kills, but if they could at least force Corki and Taric out of lane, then that would open up an opportunity where they could take Dragon. And that's really what they're looking for at this point, is to force them out of lane to take the Dragon, not so much to get kills. Kills are a bonus, but we'll see. We have the Taric stun onto Draven. Actually, there's the headbutt to get him out of there. Corki, they want to back him off, and it's just a lot of aggression, a lot of quick burst damage.
And just reeling about how much bonus damage comes off just alone onto the Q. It's just absolutely insane to me that you can have that kind of damage output bot lane so early. But then again, like I've mentioned before, damage, armor shred on the Corki Taric lane, it may actually be enough, but also that relies on Draven to catch the axes to stay in position. So it's still a lot to be said. Despite the fact that TGF is up 2 kills, the gold is actually quite even. So this wave should actually be pushing right up to the tower. Pinku's actually going to grab some of this some golden XP since Draven is not there just yet. Taking some cookies from the cookie jar, but it's nothing. It's nothing wrong with that. If you're support, if you see some creeps and your carry's not there, just take them for yourself. There's gonna be wasted.
They're actually going to go after this dragon, and that's another nice thing about Draven is you've got really nice dragon controls. So it's easy to catch the axes when you don't really have any pressure,
right?
And so very quickly you can just take it down. Along with Nocturne, Nocturne's really strong at dragon, so very quickly they drop it. That'll be a nice little gold advantage. And it's interesting, Draven actually starting off with the Bloodthirster. He's got the BF sword, whereas Corki getting the Berserker and the 2 Dorans. So early on, Draven actually is going to have a little bit more harass damage. He's got more damage than Corki does. He's already got, the really nice harass from his Q. But Corki is going to be a little bit stronger in these head-to-head fights early on. So, Draven, he definitely wants to be safe with his harass. He doesn't want to allow to give Corki opportunities to dive him with Taric and pick up those kills, because Corki that will be a little bit stronger than that. But then Draven is also going to have a finished build a little bit faster than Corki. He'll have that Bloodthirster sooner, and that's going to make him incredibly powerful in fights, and also the sustain in lane will be really strong.
But also, when you buy a Bloodthirster, what it's telling the enemy team is that, okay, I have this Bloodthirster, I'm looking to stay and farm. I'm not really exactly looking to roam. If a kill opportunity comes to me, I'm going to go ahead and take it, but that should let AL know that Liquidity is going to be sticking there in a bot lane for quite some time. He's looking to farm. He's not looking to be too aggressive, but that's what someone with a lot of damage output can also is also capable of doing. Sivir has great pushing opportunities, and so does Vayne, and you see that very commonly on them as well. He
could just as easily go Infinity Edge and just use the Vamp Scepter for lifesteal. So we'll have to see how he kind of builds, but regardless, we do see Anivia getting another blue, so a second blue at this point. Just no pressure at all from TGF, just letting him have those blues. We do have a slight gold advantage to TGF, but Anivia is going to be incredibly strong as this game progresses, and that's definitely going to be a concern for them.
And as the game goes on, they're also Absolute Legends is also recognizing how Liquidity is, how farmed he's getting here already. As they're starting to hit the 15-minute mark, and there's Maokai with the Twisted Advance trying to get the hurt all down onto Draven, and the Exhaust will go ahead and finish the job. Pinku is a little bit of trouble. Here comes the Nocturne, albeit a little bit too late. Realizes I should have been to this party a little bit earlier. Breaks the fear. He got the spell sheet. He's gonna go ahead and back off. And actually, Nocturne hasn't been doing a whole lot actually. I mean, Maokai's been there. He's been in lane, getting the Twisted Advances. He's 1-0-1. Nocturne hasn't been doing much. One
of the things with Nocturne versus Maokai is it's a really nice lane matchup, or a jungle matchup actually. They're both jungling in their lanes. No, but Maokai's going to be aggressive. We actually have the fear going off, but he's got to get out of there. Going to proc that shield on the Taric stun. Maokai is a very aggressive jungler. Nocturne has more jungling speed, so as Nocturne, you mostly want to sit around and just clear the jungle, try and look for opportunities to counter jungle, and then when Nocturne goes in, then you ult in as well. It's just they have so much burst damage, he's not getting an opportunity to counter engage. That fight down there in particular, you saw kind of the weakness. We do have Janna coming up here, though. Riven and Aurelia going to duel it off. We have the Ignite going down. There's the Whirlwind. The ultimate as well. A little bit of overkill. Never the case, actually. You always get the kill. You
gotta get the job done. Yeah. And if you gotta burn those ults in order to secure that kill.
No, it was nice.
It was a good kill. As first death for Aurelia top lane as well. Mid lane is a little bit vulnerable, getting some harass down in the tower. But you know what? If you want to get Riven fed, I have no problem with that. Absolutely no problem. Right. Once Riven gets fed, she can definitely tear up some of these later on team fights.
Yeah, but we saw with Draven, Draven has such high movement speed with his W. You can really quickly get into like 500 movement speed range, which is just insane on an AD carry. And the fact that it's spammable as long as you're catching your axes is really nice. Right. But the issue is he doesn't have a hard escape. So you saw, he only has boots right now. Maokai comes in for a gank, and very quickly they're able to take him down. Riven dueling with Maokai a little bit, but we'll be fine to get out of there. There's no one really near him. So you just saw, if we have these aggressive ganks, the flash twisted advance from Maokai, very quickly he can go down, and that's going to be an issue in fights as well. The flash twisted advance from Maokai to engage the fight, followed up with Anivia, and all of a sudden Draven is down, and he has no means of getting out.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but that's what the later on in the team fights, the reliance on Janna, the reliance on Alistar. He's looking for the rest of his team to help him get out of sticky situations. And if you also go on later in, and Liquidity gets into, if he gets overextended, he's for the most part screwed. If he gets caught out of, out of position, away from the rest of the team, he's trying to be sneaky, trying to possibly go in for like a quick jump on any, like if he's off in the jungle, everyone else is off in the lane. If he gets found out, he doesn't really have a whole lot of options.
Yeah, and we see in the top lane now, Aurelia and Riven very even. Aurelia does have the Philosopher's Stone, so has a slight farm advantage from that, despite the fact that they're actually probably even. Riven has the kill, has the a slight farm advantage, but we'll see how it goes later on. Riven is definitely looking to be aggressive, has that brutalizer, wants to pick up kills. We'll be building into that Bloodthirster usually is part of the Riven build. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of kill potential. We'll see how Riven can kind of handle things, and she is being extremely aggressive against Aurelia.
And Aurelia is actually still going back and trying to get some extra aggression, popping the ult.
Oh, but the Nocturne ult down bottom, and Alistar as well onto that Taric. We get the fear off. It does proc. Unfortunately, Draven is pretty low, but there's the flash in from Janna. Gets the Whirlwind along with the W. Will the ult pick it up? Just barely not able to grab that Corki. And now Taric will go down. They are able to grab that kill. So the kill is here, but unfortunately, Anivia is in on the backside. We have Liquidity, has to get out of there. The Monsoon from Janna, really nice disengage, but then the Twisted Advance onto Nocturne. He is very low, but then with the red buff, he's actually getting a lot of damage. And then the Draven with the Ignite, follow-up onto Anivia. Unfortunately, not able to finish it for the kill.
I'm not 100% sold on that Monsoon. I think there's, I think there's definitely a possibility to go ahead and actually split up two of the members of AL, but just you might as well be safe, push everyone away. Let's make sure that we can actually live and go through this team fight.
But the thing was, a number of their members were low, so Anivia has the burst. Your guys are low. They're engaging on you. You're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And it just makes sense, to Monsoon. Really nice play there. And actually, the Whirlwind, Anivia's way out of position. There's no one there, but Janna didn't recognize where the enemy team was. So not knowing where the enemy team is, they know that they want to go Dragon. So if she would chase, she might have gotten the kill. She might have walked into a group. And then all of a sudden, they lose the Dragon. They lose their advantage. But really nice safe play. They're able to come back, take that Dragon, and another blue for Anivia. So Anivia is just like thrilled to death right now with this blue, though we do have a gold advantage for TGF at the moment.
Yeah, TGF is about 3K in gold up. They've been grabbing those dragons pretty effectively, and that is a strength of Draven. You can just go ahead and stand still to catch those axes. That's a whole bunch of extra damage for free. Not a whole lot of extra work required. But in the meantime, though, AL can just go ahead and plug away at the bot tower for a little bit of free damage. Shouldn't be able to take it, but then again, there's also still a pretty decent amount of free damage on the mid-tier 1 tower as well. So within the next few minutes, you might actually see AL actually pressure down mid or bot just to go in and just swoop in, take the tower for free, and leave. But then again, top tower, top tier 1 for AL is actually already gone. Riven's actually doing a pretty good job staying in that lane, but now there's an opportunity for Aurelia to just go ahead, free farm just a little bit, and Riven may actually decide to go roam after this.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, as long as you keep it pushed up, but we do have Maokai coming here, so some nice damage for Draven. Unfortunately, the Twisted Advance, Nocturne is here as well. We'll get the fear off on the Maokai, but they have to deal with that Corki damage, and the AoE from Maokai. TGF, Koala is very close to going down. Corki is in pursuit. The Whirlwind going to burst down Corki a little bit, but he will be fine. The Monsoon and Janna is trapped with that wall, but actually is able to burst down Corki before going down. We do have Corki going down, but Janna went down as well, and there's the burst onto Draven. He's got to get out of there. Throws off the E. The headbutt, it's just barely not into tower range. Gets one attack, and now Maokai under the tower, but he did get the Twisted Advance.
Nocturne ult is still up. Can you go ahead and get the Maokai real quick? You just need some vision. They're pinging down the Maokai, and the Nocturne ult does not go off. And just Koala caught out of position because of that and will pay the price. And Anivia was egged for the time being, but here comes Aurelia to help out. Can Riven actually finish the job? Ultimate is still up. Did you use it? No. No.
Yeah, and at level 6, Nocturne's ult is actually pretty short range, so he wanted to be aggressive there, couldn't quite get it done. Anivia coming in, she's going to be able to pick this up. Actually, the burst, but can Draven finish it first?
Oh.
It is a exchange there, so an even death situation. But Nocturne just didn't quite have the range. Draven and Corki were both pretty low that entire fight, so they couldn't really stand up and deal the damage that they would like to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a heavy CC team for TGF. We have, Janna and Alistar for the protection. It'd be nice to see, Draven a little bit more confident, not getting low quite as early, so that he can sit up there. We do have Kikumi Please going to be able to grab the spot turret.
But
I
imagine though, like all of TGF, they just cannot be all too happy with Koala at this moment. And there was an opportunity for a free kill onto Maokai, but just out of position, out of range, and just could not capitalize on it.
I mean,
yeah,
the range on Nocturne's ult is pretty short, and he was there fighting with his team, so
yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just, things like that. Things like sometimes they do happen. Sometimes you're just out of range, but sometimes you just need to let those kills go. But even though, despite that last team fight, TGF still slightly in the lead in terms of gold, just about 1K. It's about a dragon, but there's still room to be made up here. Just taking a quick look at the gold for everyone involved. Draven has 1K in gold actually up on the Corki. Riven's actually doing pretty good for herself as well. Janna and Nivea are actually pretty even, but if you look at the goal difference between Nocturne and Maokai, Maokai actually does have a pretty decent lead, because he's had a lot more presence in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, he also, you know, he's been able to pick up the early ganking kills. He has the gold pretends. Maokai, you know, he's just an all-around strong champion. So I definitely think he's someone that we'll see a lot more often. We've seen him a number of times today. We saw him all 3 matches earlier.
Pretty much all day today.
Right. But we'll see. I mean, Draven, you know, does have the IE, had it in the last fight as well, but was a little bit low. So, you know, that works very well with his passive. It's just an all-around strong damage item. For those of you who don't know, Draven's passive, it gives you damage over time that procs on either in a crit or on a hit of your Q. So your Q, it throws an axe at him. Both of those will proc the passive. So, you know, just Infinity Edge in general is just really the strongest AD item. So, right. You know, he's going to have plenty of damage in these fights. You know, we'll see. His ultimate does scale pretty well as the game progresses. It's a little bit low for damage early on, as you've seen. It's not quite enough to burst people down. But the fact that it's so long range and, you know, does scale well will be something to watch out for.
Draven actually getting a little hasty there. The wall for the Nivea will actually push her back, keep her from going in from behind to go for a quick tower dive. But there's still quite a bit of decent ward coverage actually coming in from Absolute Legends. There's a pretty good amount of it, and actually it might be good. It might be around that time to go ahead and grab an Oracles. AL has one. TJ, you might want to have Alistar pick one up for your guys too, because there's a lot of wards that still need to be cleared. But for the time being, though, AL will just go ahead and try and press the mid as much as they can. They did take the bot pretty convincingly, and yet another blue to be grabbed for Anivia.
Yeah, and so, you know, they will have really nice team fight control. One of the things with Corki is it's a little bit easier for you to deal your damage than Draven. So, you know, in team fights, it's just so much AoE damage. It's a lot of shredding. And you don't really have to worry as much about positioning as Draven does. You have the quick Valkyrie. Your damage, a lot of it comes from abilities. So we'll have to see how that kind of factors into things. We do have really nice cleanup potential from Draven. You know, he has really nice movement speed and attack speed. We are missing out on some farm top and bot, but I think right now they're a little bit concerned about losing their mid tower, so as a result they kind of miss out on it some. But yeah. We'll see once Draven comes mid, you know, how effectively they can fight. The big issue is I think he's just scared of Maokai and Anivia, and rightfully so. And
once, you know, Absolute Legends, they now know that Riven's top. They've gotten the vision on her in top. So next wave they may go. Actually, they can go ahead and pressure Dragon here. Riven, they have the data that Riven is not with the team, so you could just go ahead and try and get it. Twisted Advance actually going down on Janus for some quick damage, but not a whole lot. But they see Maokai wandering on down. Dragon is being started by AL. Riven knows she's on her way back, but it may not be quick enough. It's already half health.
They don't even care. They recognize that the Dragon is down. They can't defend it. Come, take this tower really quickly. Unfortunately, it's not quite quickly enough. No, they are able to get it. So there was kind of a slight concern that maybe AL would be able to run them down, and they are still chasing after them. They know that they want to engage this fight because they have so much CC. They're actually going to back off now. So the Oracles from Maokai, definitely a nice purchase, you know, just to be able to have that map control. And TGF pressuring the top lane now as well.
Yeah, Keon actually started the pressure, pushing the lane over to the tower, and Legendary Josh is out there up in front. AL, they're a little bit too far behind. Maokai's getting a little bit ahead of himself, and he will actually be the first one to fall in the fight. The Monsoon does go try and clear the room just for a little bit, and Aurelia is actually trying to way far away from the rest of her team, and man, she should escape safely, but Pinku is caught out just a little bit too far, and Koala and Kiko are dueling it out, but Aurelia will go ahead and win that fight, and now Liquidity is actually the only one left. You're a pretty cocky guy, but I don't think you can win a 4v1. Just gonna make an Aurelia stand aside real quick. May actually be able to grab the kill just in time. No, the ace, the burst from Corki is too strong. They're pinging Baron. They're going for it now. I mean,
everyone is down. You know, they are kind of low, but Anivia can tank it.
Yeah.
Does Anivia have the egg?
I'm pretty sure she does not.
She does not have the egg, but even so, they should be tanky enough. They just need to alternate tanking, so they will be fine. They are getting very low. Kikomi, please, can't be tanking it. Corki needs to get in there. So Corki and Anivia, there we go. So they are tanking it. They will be fine. Nivea can back off in a second, and this will be a Baron. So,
no,
wow,
Nivea does go down, but that's okay. He's still gonna go ahead and secure the Dragon.
It's just
Baron.
Kind of a misplay. I mean, Nivea needed to back off. Corki needed to be the one tanking it, but even so, they are able to pick up the Baron. They have a really nice team fight team. They have so much CC, so much upfront damage. that they can just control fights very easily. And you saw we had some nice damage from Draven when he was able to kind of sit there and attack. But, you know, once they were kind of in his face, he kind of needed to back off a second. I don't know, it kind of hurt his damage output some. We'll see. They need to keep people in front of them with the Janna and with the Alistar. They can't allow AL to engage on them quite so aggressively, but AL, you know, definitely pursuing really aggressively. Maokai went down early, but even so, Anibi is just so strong in team fights.
Yep. And also, if you're ever in a situation where you need to go ahead and take Baron, where you need to alternate tanks, always remember, whoever is closest to the Baron is the one that will be focused. So if you're in a situation like that, if you're getting low, just move slightly ahead. Just move slightly away from the Baron. Someone with a lot more health, you just move just a little bit closer. Just walk right in, and you can go ahead and alternate tanks that way. So if you ever need to do it in a pinch, that's how you do it. So now there's absolute legends with the Baron. Now they can go ahead and pressure the lanes even further. They can go ahead and take down the mid turret. Aurelia is actually going to go ahead and split push the bot lane. And Riven with the Guardian Angel here is not too uncommon of an item. Riven's actually, you know, pretty fed at the moment, but still, you're going up against the team with Baron, so it could be a nice little bit of an extra life, but there's still, you know, you need to defend these pushes here. And Aurelia can just go ahead in whatever lane she wants to, top, mid, bot, wherever the rest of the team needs to be. And then still, though, AL can just go ahead and continue to take objectives. I actually want to go back on this game and find out how many of their own blues TGF has actually had, because it's not too many.
Yeah, it's just a few. I mean, AL has had pretty strong map control the entire game, and I don't know, it's a little bit surprising, but you know, definitely doing a nice job there. And TGF, you know, they have plenty of physical damage output. We don't have a lot of armor yet. We have the Aegis on Maokai. Other than that, it's not really that much of an issue. Like, the rest of the team will still go down pretty easily, but we really just need to keep them in front. So if they can organize the fights pretty well, you know, get that damage output from Draven, we can see how it works.
So ping's going down on AL's blue. They're going to go ahead and also secure that for themselves, and Nivi's going to go ahead and grab that. TGF's in a bit of a sticky situation. Baron buff is still going to be there for another minute or so. There's not a whole lot of objectives that can be pressed, and
I'm
AL's
not
also really pushing too much.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're not pushing more aggressively.
Yeah.
And so Liquidity actually going to come bot, and this actually opens up an opportunity where AL, they can just push down the mid lane.
Yep.
One of the issues is that Janna can clear waves so easily, and that's one of the strengths of Janna.
Though. You need your tornado in order to do that, and there's still one more minion, but there's still
but
Maokai.
In one minion, you can't really do enough damage to the tower.
Maokai can still tank the tower like a boss, though. I mean, he's very deceptively tanky. And Josh is now realizing Riven's trying to go in. It's now time for him to leave. J-Pack is out in the back trying to grab a stun onto someone. But
Liquidity in the meantime is just still pushing that bot lane, and now Maokai is too low to to push this tower. Janna can just all day clear those minion waves, and so the rest of TGF can force a fight here, and AL has no options here. They will lose their bot turret. We do have Aurelia going to try and chase down Liquidity, but he's too fast. He has too much movement speed. So actually a really nice job pushing, and that's actually kind of the interesting thing with Draven is he's very similar to Sivir in his playstyle, but rather than being so tied to his ultimate, his W is a very short cooldown steroid, which will allow him to push towers, split push towers very easily, and then get out of there very easily. So, that is an interesting thing. Does give him a nice little advantage.
And not to mention, looking like crazy cool when he's going to recall.
Oh, of course.
You gotta have. That's the one thing Sivir doesn't have.
That's like requisite #1 for all champions now, is just
you gotta have
look
a cool exit
crazy
pose.
cool all the time. And Draven definitely fits that category. And it's interesting. The split push, split pushing is always a really effective means of stalling a pushing team. And when you have someone who can clear waves very easily, like Janna can, Corki has decent attack range. It's 550, but it's not long enough like Caitlyn or Kog'Maw or something where you can poke down the turret. And so as a result, Janna all day can just stall this wave mid. Just be like, no, you're not pushing mid unless you want Maokai to tank the tower, and then you're going to get close to dying like last time. And as a result, split pushing, you force the team to sit back. They don't get any objectives. And so that entire time they had Baron, they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get any kills.
Up. There's the ward cover still there. The Oracles has not... did not manage to get that one. Waiting for the right moment for when the dragon was low enough. The ward was still up. J-Pack actually did not clear it, and Keanu was just waiting for the right moment. unfortunately did not get that.
Yeah, but I mean, because of the stalling potential that they have, we didn't. The Baron is down for AL. No objectives taken. They're still pressuring this mid, but they can't really get the engages they want. The blue is up for TGF, so we'll probably see AL move up there, go take that. Aurelia is going to be taking that right now. But I don't know. We'll have to see. If we start seeing more and more of a split push with both Draven and Nocturne, we could see a nice fight. But actually, Maokai has to get out of there. We have the wall off, so Alistar is trapped.
From the rest of his team, the wall keeping him behind. Has to force the pop of the ult, but he should not be enough. Nocturne's actually getting a little bit far of himself, but it should be okay. The Anivia is egged, but you gotta go ahead and still finish the job. But right now, still though, Nocturne being chased down. And Aurelia is also shut down by
actually,
the Janna.
if you go back and look at that fight again,
there's a lot of split
go
up.
down. We see
split.
Draven, Aurelia just chasing down Draven. We had the ult from Janna to knock her into the wall to kind of slow her down a little bit. She was able to get the kill though. Janna chasing her down, able to pick that up. But unfortunately, because Draven was forced out of the fight by Aurelia, and that's the benefit of Aurelia. It does go down. Riven actually jumping into Corki, forces the flash. The whirlwind will get them out of there. So Aurelia is really strong at against carries that don't have a lot of mobility, and so you just jump right into the face of Draven. You lose out on all that damage, and now we will have another fight once again. We do have both Janna and Riven caught out. There's the quick burst, and Janna goes down almost instantly. They are chasing after Riven. The wall off will be fine, and Riven still has that GA, but this is going to be a tower, and we'll see. This actually, they should be able to get a second turret here. It's going to be close, though. They might want to back off, and actually they will back off.
They might want to back off because Baron should actually be coming up in another minute or so, so you might want to go ahead and prepare for that. But Keon is hungry, still has the GA dashes within the face of a stun, but the Shiralias will be popped, and AL will be out of there. There's still a pretty hefty wave pushing down bot lane, but there are pings. There's the Baron. He is up, and TGF knows they might just go ahead and do a mad dash for it.
They could actually rush it, and this is awesome. This is great for TGF right now.
This is pretty much the best option for them right now.
I mean, they have so much damage output. They have all this physical damage. Riven, Nocturne, Draven.
They definitely have the damage for it, and Absolute Legends is none the wiser. They're going around, they're too busy setting up for it, getting prepared, getting everyone to top off, but they're going to go ahead. TGF is going to stick around and try and bait it. There is the ward down, but Aurelia with the scout knows it's gone, and immediately AL backs off.
Yeah, so really nice play by TGF, and with that Baron, that's huge. They can kind of stall out a little bit longer. They have the physical damage where they can do very well late game, but the magic burst and the CC for AL is always going to be such a serious threat for TGF. And TGF, their benefit is when fights are disorganized in 1v1. Riven can beat anyone 1v1, basically. Riven is just such a strong 1v1 champion, particularly late game. So you have that, Draven. He can also beat almost anyone 1v1, except for Aurelia, like we saw a little bit ago. But he's a really strong champion 1v1 where, the fight is disorganized. He doesn't have to worry about his positioning as much. He can, maximize his damage output. So if we can force the fight to break down, not have quite the organized fight that AL is looking to do, because AL, they want everything to be right in front of them, everything right in front of Corki, right in front of Anivia, have all of our CC, burst people down. If we can, get out of that, maybe pick off Anivia, then all of a sudden the fight breaks down and, TGF can try and do their thing with their late game physical damage.
I'm also noticing here the build order on J-Pack. Got the Shiralias and went back and stocked up on 10 wards. Really extremely paranoid about trying to get all the ward coverage here, but they are in not the greatest of situations right now. TGF does have Baron. If they're going to be in their jungle, AL wants to know about it. And you know what? There's a lot of supports there. You just like, oh, I got 5 wards, I'm fine. No, in some situations like this, if you want that ward coverage, you need it. And if you have the item slots, by all means, just stock up on wards as much as possible.
And it's actually interesting. A lot of times that would be a poor decision to buy that many wards.
Yeah.
I mean, wards are always a great thing. You're right, but when you're buying that many wards, you're setting yourself behind for items. You're making yourself weaker in fights. Whereas he might be able to get like a Stark's Fervor, or he might be able to get something else that would benefit his team.
Right.
And so it's actually a really heavy gold investment. I mean, he just spent 1,000 gold on wards. That's such an insane investment. However, TG or Absolute Legends, they recognize we're really strong in team fights. I mean, that's what we want. We want to just have nice, coordinated, organized fights. So as a result, good ward coverage allows us to engage the fights we want. We won't get anyone picked off because that's what TGF wants right now. They want to be able to pick someone off, you know, have fights in the jungle, have fights where, you know, maybe AL is out of position. So AL doesn't want to allow that. Just throw down a ton of wards because Tarek knows, hey, I don't really matter that much in this game. You know, other games I would, but in this game, we will win all of these fights as long as we're organized.
And Koala is actually up there top lane. The wards did see him, but there's only still, even with the coverage, there's only so much that AL can do right now, but they do recognize that if the team fight does break out, they will actually have the advantage. The remaining members of TGF pushing up in the mid, and Kiko getting up there just in time, keeping the tier 2 from falling down, but Nocturne is still pretty close by. Ping's going down just to keep him away. Only 4 members of TGF pushing in the mid, so if AL decides to get a nice little sweep behind them, they could actually go ahead and make a difference here, despite the Baron buff, which actually should be expiring in just a few moments. Nocturne is still top, trying to get the split push, and there is vision, but the Dragon is up, and looks like AL, they do know about it, and they're going to try and get a pinch.
Yeah, but actually TGF will want to get out of there. We have the Shirelias from both teams to get out of there. The E from Draven, really nice disengage. So this Dragon is going to go to AL. They will be able to get this advantage. Aurelia is mid. They are kind of positioning themselves, though. See if they can get an engage and zone them off of this, because we do have Nocturne incoming. But actually, the Maokai twisted advance onto him. We have Riven jumping in the middle of the fight. The flash in from Pinku, and they've got nice AoE right in front of him. Liquidity looks pretty safe. Nocturne pretty close to going down, but both Corki and the other person are out of there. We have Draven, will be forced back. Draven does go down, and unfortunately, Anivia is egged, but Nocturne has to get out of there. Maokai will be back trying to get an engage, but they did win the fight. Riven, you know, will be back out of there. Can't really get an engage on anyone. The flash from Tarek.
Tarek trying to get some damage, and there is the wall, perfectly timed. The Monsoon keeping everyone away, but will not be enough. The Twisted Advance will get the kill onto the Janna, and now looks like AL is actually now looking to push. 3 members of TGF are down. They're here, they're in the mid, they got a wave, might as well go ahead and press the advantage. And that's a tower ripe for the taking. The GA, it may still be up for Riven, but they're like, you know what, you got an extra life. You know what, we'll just focus on everyone else. You can go ahead, have your fun time, stun, you do your sword swingy thing with your carrot sword thing. We're just gonna go ahead and kill everyone else on your team and take the objectives and light this tower, light this inhibitor, and back off.
Yeah, and so with the quick inhibitor down, they know, you know, we have the team fight potential. We can very easily just set up in the top lane, most likely, and, you know, once Corki's up, they will be able to pressure it. And you saw Nocturne in the last fight, he was able to get the engage on the Corki, was able to force, you know, kill Corki, and then with Janna also egg Anivia, but unfortunately, you know, Draven being pressured a little bit too hard by Aurelia and just really can't deal with it. You know, right to his face. He does have the movement speed to get away from Aurelia, but Aurelia with the slow can very easily chase him down.
Yep, so Corki going to go ahead and grab their own blue. So blue onto Corki, blue onto Anivia. Whole lot of mana going around on Absolute Legends. There's still a little bit more time before the next Baron, which should be next objective. Each team has managed to get one. TGF did very sneakily grab the last one, but now Absolute Legends, though, is still in quite a huge position. A 7k gold lead. They can take those team fights pretty convincingly, as seen last time over by the Dragon, which, by the way, is still up. It still has yet to be taken. But wards being placed down in front of the Baron area. Pinku actually trying to just go ahead and clear the section. But both teams have the oracles. Both teams are looking to set up for the next objective. And now it's just another wait and see situation, because both teams are more than happy with just sitting back, farming, and just waiting for the Baron to spawn. But AL can go ahead and take the team fight pretty convincingly.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, you know, how TGF can kind of, I don't know, negotiate things. It's really weird. They just, I mean, I don't know. I'd really like to know what their thought process was with their team, you know, because we have such a stronger team fight team for AL, and we've seen it all game. You know, it was a fun team to think about with TGF, and they have had some advantages, but really never able to capitalize on anything. We do have AL going to, you know, be pressuring this Baron. They I don't know, have decent Baron potential. I mean, it's this late in the game, everyone can Baron easily, but they're actually going to get pretty low, so they definitely don't want to give up that advantage against AL. They really just want to bait them in, and we'll see. Someone probably is going to walk right in this bush in a second.
There is the wall from Anivia. That's all the indication they needed. Pico is right out there in front. He knows he's doomed, so he might as well just go ahead and get a pulverize and pop everyone up while he's at it. The Maokai ult is going down, protecting everybody, and Koala is just barely getting away with the skin of his teeth, the skin of his arms. And right now, Riven, the GA has been popped. The extra life has been used, but Liquidity is in the middle of everything. Will you be able to get Anivia? No, you will not. Anivia with the revolver, actually just enough regen on her to stay alive. Nocturne is way the far out there. Riven gonna get caught. Hyun with the shield. One stray missile will get it. There you go. And that's pretty much it. AL, they can go ahead and just sweep this advantage, push right up into the mid. They should be able to just take this outright. Hyun's not gonna be back for another minute.
This should be GG.
This should be game. So right now it's just AL pressing the advantage, taking down both of the Nexus turrets. There is huge minion waves coming in from all 3 lanes, and it's just going to go ahead and slowly press on in. One more Nexus turret is still up, and Janet and Nocturne, Alistar just trying to do their best. Egg going down onto Anivia, but they should not be able to finish the job. Everyone from AL is here is like, hey, bonus life. And still, Shirelia is actually going to go ahead and back off. But they're pinging definitely around the Baron area. They just want to go ahead, back off, secure the kill. They got what they wanted, and they should be able to just grab Baron for free here.
Yeah, we do have the Nocturne ultimate, though, so they will want to watch out for that. But Riven is still down, so you know, they should be fine. Anivia is a little bit low. She won't want to use too much mana on this Baron. But regardless, with their damage, they should take it pretty easily. And then we'll have to see what happens game number 2. But, you know, TGF, in the meantime, they're actually going to pressure this. So coming up to the Baron is down. Yeah. They will want to back off.
And Nocturne's realizing, oh, God, run. Oh, God, run. There is the ward in the bush. But the Draven, he will be able to make everyone stand aside just for a moment. But still, though, AL, they have a pretty good minion wave here in the mid. They can just go along and push right on up with it. Take all the rest of the towers, take all the rest of the inhibs, and they should be able to go ahead and take this pretty convincingly. It's just a matter of time here at this point. Aurelia popping the ult to help clear the waves. Everyone's wandering on bot. Should be able to also take bot turret and bot inhibitor. Wow, that thing's really low. That's just minions. That's just minions.
Yeah, so all of AL going to back. They have plenty of gold. We do have some nice clearing capabilities from TGF, but I don't know. It's we'll see. I'm a little bit surprised that AL didn't push down there, but they figure, all right, well, we just took Baron. Let's spend all of our gold. Just come back. Everything will be perfect, and we'll go ahead and win it. Come right down the mid lane. The inhibitor is back up, so it's been a while since they've been here. Haven't really pushed the advantage since then, but they can take this inhibitor pretty easily. Then they should be able to just go straight for the Nexus turret and drop that as well.
Yeah, and they're 10k in the lead. They got the Baron buff. They can just go ahead and just bully the rest of the game away from TGF. It's really mostly a non-issue, and even if they don't take it, they're going to delay them just enough and kill enough minions in there for the rest of the remaining 2 lanes. Just go ahead, continue the push, take down turrets and other objectives. And there's not a whole lot TGF can do about this. There may be a last stand once it gets to the last Nexus turret. And ALM actually just decided they're pinging down the bot turret. They're just going to go ahead and swing around, grab that while they're here. It's low enough. There's not a whole lot TGF can do to defend that either. The minions just going to be there to take all the turret hits necessary, maybe just 1 or 2. Corki, 1, the Janus shield just trying to delay the inevitable. 1, 2, 3, just a few more hits, and there you go. Inhibitor should go down shortly as well. And yeah, this is going to be pretty much AL's game. They're going to go ahead and take this down. Now they're going to swing up top. You just go ahead and just stick with the minion wave. Go ahead and clear the way. Pave the way onto victory.
Yeah, and they're actually going to go in the top lane and get the last inhibitor rather than just going for that Nexus turret. But we do have the Shirelias. We will have an engage. Actually, we have Riven and Alistar right in the middle of the team. The Nocturne ult as well. Kikumi Please is really close to going down. Unfortunately, Riven does go down. Alistar goes down. There's Nocturne as well. Aurelia going to be chasing down Janna, the ultimate, but picks up the kill onto Draven. And then the flash stun from Taric. Will he be able to get off the damage? No, but they will be able to get this Nexus. And that is going to be game for Absolute Legends NA. They do take down Team Green Forest. Game number 1. We will see, what happens game number 2 and how TGF can respond.
And that is it. Game number 1. We go into Absolute Legends NA. Good job, And you know what? Let's do the analysis needs to be made. It might as well just go ahead and just give it the quick approval or disapproval right here. So Draven, seeing him in a competitive match, thumbs up, thumbs down, or was it just kind of or is it too soon?
I think it's I don't know, a difficulty with the comp, and they had a lot of physical damage. They had a lot of close range damage. So they've got a close range team that has to walk right into Anivia and right into Maokai as physical damage, and it's not enough. It's not a strong enough team comp, to face off against the team. I think Draven, to me, seems very similar to Sivir, and they're very similar champions. Draven, one thing he's missing out on is the spell shield. However, he does have, the E, which is really nice for, disengaging. And then basically Sivir's ultimate on a short cooldown. He doesn't give the aura to the rest of his team, but even so, it is pretty nice. His W, his damage, his output is very nice. I just don't think that they had the team comp to work with it, and I think they wanted that kind of disorganized physical team, and they just couldn't really work it well enough. So we'll see. Probably look for more standard comp coming into game number 2.
And also, not to mention, one of Draven's biggest pluses is that he has a great early game, but you saw as about like level 9, level 10, Corki really started to go ahead and start dominating the lane just absolutely outright. Maokai is a good part of that formula as well, but after that point in, just there was no way he can come back in lane really.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. And both lanes were really aggressive lanes. Maokai, a little bit more successful, is a little bit more of an aggressive ganker than Nocturne is, but Nocturne is a little bit faster as a jungler, has that counter ganking potential. Maokai, just able to be a little bit more successful, and it's, the Twisted Advance, the hard CC against Draven is a really hard counter since you don't have, a hard disengage. You only have movement speed, basically, so it's all about positioning, and being out of position, very easily they're able to take him down. So we'll see. Coming into game number 2, we could maybe see a Anivia or Maokai ban. Both of those champions are extremely disruptive. Maokai you can leave unbanned, but he is a really aggressive jungler. We are seeing that more and more now. So I don't know. We'll have to see coming into game number 2 what they're trying to do. But
also remember, al.na will now also be on first pick.
Yeah.
So I don't know, they could just go ahead and swoop up the Maokai, swoop up the Anivia, whoever decides to escape the bans. But you know what? Have to go ahead and see what happens here in just a few moments. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go to quick commercial. We'll be right back in just a few moments. IPL5 NA qualifier number 2, Team Green Force and Absolute Legends NA. We'll be back in just a few moments, so do please stay tuned.